don't see too many like me. Cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you. Cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am. The incredible man, I only do things incredible can. Cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me. Cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you. Cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am. I am the incredible man. I only do things incredible can. Cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me. Cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you. Cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am. I am the incredible man. I only do things incredible can. Cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me. Cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you. Cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
And good afternoon, Kevin Hastings, along with Hunter Yancey, and special guest with a day off, Tom Sinafani.
I did work today.
Tom, it's not a complete day off, right?
Not a complete
Not a-
day. I had some comp time that I used
Yeah.
to come down here from working ball games.
Okay.
So figured a good as day as ever to come and use the comp day so I can get down here and get bashed by the Bash Brothers.
Well, thank you for joining us, Tom. Want to hopefully in this time of where we're at in America, that weekend, the world, I guess, that we can provide a little bit of fun / entertainment in the world of sports. Everybody wants to know what we're going to be talking about, if we can talk about anything. And we got a little bit of stuff here and there to go over. We actually do. News and notes, some changes. So we'll kind of want to update everybody on what's going on. Let's first, Tom, I do want to start with the local schools real quick.
Okay.
A lot been going across my Twitter feeds and everything. So one of the big concerns, of course, with schools being out is student lunches and food. I don't know if you guys, I was going to see about you guys talking about that up at Burns. From the board meeting at Shelby High School will be one of the 23. This is just them retweeting. Cleveland County schools that will offer meals to students on a drive-through basis starting today. Sites with programs are Burns High School, Crest, Kings Mountain, Shelby Middle School, North Shelby, and East Elementary. Parents with kids at those schools can go to any nearby school to find food. Cleveland County schools will operate on a lunch feeding program 11 to 1. Is that right, Tom? And lunch comes the next few days, breakfast pre-packaged for the next day.
Yeah, they are going to, you might have mentioned a delivery, try to figure out some kind of delivery system by Wednesday is what I've heard. But things are kind of coming together quickly, so they're trying to put together what they want to do. We talked today about what we're going to do with the kids. The plan is to give them some review work to do. It's pretty much optional review work, but the parents who want their kids to stay on top of things may review some of the topics that we've covered in class so far. So If you're listening, just check your child's Google Classroom. If you do not have high-speed internet, you're probably not listening to this. But if somebody that you know does not, and you could tell them that hard copies are at the school as well. So if they don't have access to internet and they'd like to pick up some of the stuff just to review, just to keep their minds moving on what they were studying, hard copies of the stuff is available at every school in Cleveland County. I know the elementary schools have put together some packets and things, and I put together the civics packet for Burns, and Meredith Royster and Allison Hoyle put together the packet for U.S. history and so on. So we're prepared for at least a couple weeks. But Hunter, I really don't think realistically, I don't think they're going to come back until at least after Easter.
Well, today, obviously at my university, we went in this morning to basically go ahead and have class today, and we're going to have an in-class tomorrow, because the way I have it, I have one class on Monday, Wednesday, and one class on Tuesday, Thursday. So getting instructions from our professors for our Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, Thursday classes. Essentially, we are moving to, they don't call it online, it's digital learning. That's what they're calling it. Yeah, I know. It's because it's not an online class. Because I still have to use Microsoft Teams. Go in there. We have to check in on Microsoft Teams for them to be able to count us present.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will also possibly be using Zoom, which people use. It's like basically like a Skype. Some people use. So that's essentially what we're moving to. And reports are, what they're seeing is, since we work on a 5-week schedule at my school, I do 2 classes for 5 weeks for 5 hours a day. They said that this will probably finish out the rest of this term, so it'll be about 2.5 weeks. But they did tell us there's the possibility, just based off what's been floating around with the government and, WHO and everybody, that it might be longer. Might roll into another term, maybe even more. I know I read somewhere that said, I can't remember which organization said it, but they would really prefer anything of a group of people, 50 or more, be canceled or not even allowed for 8 weeks.
Recommendation.
So it's recommended for
not a
it's
rule.
not a rule yet.
Right.
Yet, but
Government
8
would have to do
weeks.
that, and then if something like that happened, there's a lot of, and Tom, as a history teacher with some of this going on, there's a lot of constitutional questions that we actually have about what is constitutional, what the government should do, at what levels can someone make these
I know
rules, say mayors, governors, and federal.
The National Emergencies Act that was passed back in the 70s does give the president like 136 additional powers during emergency.
Right.
I guarantee you nobody knows them all. So basically, I know that people talk about the Constitution this, the Constitution that, but what Congress has done is pretty much, quote unquote, unconstitutionally delegated a lot of power to the president.
Right.
Through a number of legislation. And that's just the way it is, by the book, strictly speaking. If you could raise the founding fathers from their graves, they would say there's no way you can give the president that much authority.
Mm-hmm.
That was never our intention. But modern presidents do have a lot of authority, and it's just they can start reappropriating money, and they can start banning travel, and they can start making new rules for commerce. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's going to be a constitutional challenge in that. Go ahead.
I think what it brings up a lot, I think where you're going to have the problems is local versus federal rules and government. So I think there's a mayor in Illinois who's trying to claim that she can take your guns and other stuff away too. She's going after the guns in this time. So as soon as something like that happens, Tom, now all of a sudden now all of a sudden there's questions over who can actually ban what from where and when, as opposed to the Constitution. And that's one thing we're looking at. That's what kind of with the and we're here for sports, folks. So one of the things we're kind of leaning on that is that that nobody. It's not been nationally closed down. It's been the organizations themselves and some local municipalities saying you can't. What would you say, 50 people in certain spots, or 100 in other areas, 500 in other areas. Everybody's got different rules.
Well, I did see
on exactly
that,
what to do.
really one of the main reasons why a lot of people are starting to do the at least 50 people in an area is because just based off of what has happened within the last 2 days with the number of cases that were in California. I mean, they've gone up by 100 people almost for the past 2 days. And I know California, obviously, population-wise, is a lot larger, but, you know, what is Los Angeles known for? You know, they've got clubs, they've got restaurants, everybody likes to go out there. And with the high population rate,
They also have
do
100,000 homeless folks on the streets.
yeah, they do have that as well. And then, you know, a lot of people are upset over the videos that were being posted from people still going out and having nightlife in Nashville, Tennessee. You know, everybody was just within close proximities, and
Bourbon Street was the same.
yeah, I mean, everybody was still out. So, you know, just because this is what's recommended, obviously, it's going to be up to the people.
Well, that's the difference between our
the
difference between our country and China. Is this is a free country,
and it's
not
just
a,
recommended,
not a dictatorship, and so that's what I'm saying. When we're going to get to some rules and some things are going to be questioned.
Yeah,
constitutionally, hopefully we've already hit the top of the curve or wherever it's at, and we're starting to come back down. Of course, you know the elderly is more attuned.
I could see
have
this.
Problems with it.
I'm with Tom here about wouldn't possibly till after Easter when this happens, and one of the reasons why as well is, you know, they're still trying to work on vaccines as well for this.
Well, at what
but the
number do
hardest
we
part,
stop?
I know, but at the
say,
hardest
let's
part,
go back to
they
doing.
said what's really tough is they're estimating. Again, this is all we've ever really heard is estimating, but that it won't be ready for human testing until at least June or July.
I did see something today that came out that one of the pharmaceutical companies has been approved for a test that may be ready in the next few weeks. My question is, Tom, is like, when do we make the decision on coming back to say, because technically we're not going to eradicate the virus or the disease. So when do you say, hey, it's okay to go back to normal life? For example, I'm going to read some of the death rates for this on this planet this year. Okay. Cancer, 1.1 million. Smoking, 700,000. Alcohol, 300,000. HIV, 240,000. Road accidents, not 193,000. Suicide, 153,000. Malaria, 140,000. 69,000 people have died from the common cold this year. 2,000 people have caught the coronavirus and died. When do we say, and none of us are experts, none of us are doctors or whatever, when do we say, because is there a certain contagion percentage, certain death percentage? At what point do we say, hey guys, we can probably get back to it, let's be careful and like treat it like a normal flu/disease or something else? That's my question, because that's the question each one of these sports leagues is going to have to answer. The football guys are going about business as usual because there's no games now. They can do their off-season stuff without. But that's my biggest question. At what point do we say, all right, guys, it's safe to play sports, just be careful?
Yeah, that's a good question, and you know, it'll never be 100% eliminated.
No.
Right. That's what.
See, my mother works in healthcare, and what it is this is an upper respiratory infection. Obviously, of course, that's what most viruses are. And she told me that the coronavirus has been known.
Right.
It's old.
It's on the back. It's on the Lysol.
It's
can.
on. Yes. It's COVID-19. That's the one, the new strain. That's why they've tried to separate the two. There's COVID-19 and there's the coronavirus. The COVID-19 is the new strain. What the problem is as well is when they check you, if you come in maybe with signs and symptoms of respiratory infections, they don't always have the tests necessary to test for the certain respiratory infections. I think that's one of the big things that we've been pushing so far is we just don't have the tests for this said virus. We have tests for the flu. We have tests for other upper respiratory infections. But when it comes to that, sometimes she told me if it's not on the checklist, that, you know, it's and they don't have the test for it, I'm sorry, but there's not much they can really do besides try and treat it like every other upper respiratory infection. Yeah. So the coronavirus has been known. It's the COVID-19. It's that strain. Because, you know, just like flu has got multiple strains. It's just which one unfortunately do you contract can be the outlier with how severe it's going to be. Kind of like you've seen Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert in their videos. They seem to say they're okay, they're doing fine. Well, then they might have just a mild version of the coronavirus. Just the phone. But the other people, obviously with the 2,000 deaths and the deaths around, in Italy and in China and all that, they might have the COVID-19 strain as well. And the one thing definitely that I've read as well, it was from Americans in Italy. Basically, the steps that America is trying to take is so that they don't get to the point that China and Italy is at, where our hospitals are overrun and people there's no beds to take care of them, so they just have to send them home anyways. So
Right.
that when they say, I've used the term multiple times this weekend just talking with people, when they say flatten the curve, that's literally what they mean. It's just so that the hospitals don't get overrun because, some people, even if they have a cough, they'll go to the ER. And then that's the worst place, really, if you are sick, to go, because everybody else is in there sick.
See, but I think the thing that people don't talk about, the spreadability of this disease versus other disease. It seems to me that they're saying that it'll survive on the surfaces longer.
It is water droplet based.
That it is more spreadable. I think that's what makes it different than the flu, traditional flu. Of course, it's also, you cough on your hand, you shake somebody's hand, they take a bite of an apple, they're going to get sick.
I think the question people want to know, as far as the contagion there, Tom, is how contagious it is like, if I'm sitting in a room with somebody, am I automatically going to get it, or do I have to touch that person? That's the thing. Like, with only with so few cases, actually, it's hard to.
It survives on the surfaces longer than you would think. Like cardboard, it can survive a couple of days. If it's on a steel or a glass surface, for some reason, it can survive even longer. So I guess it depends on, like, if I have it and I sneeze on this table
and nobody thinks about cleaning it up.
Nobody cleans it up, then it could survive on there for a number of days. So then Terry comes in here next Saturday, he eats his biscuit, and he's got it. So, that's, I guess, because it survives on the surfaces for longer than I've heard other diseases. Now, like I said, I don't have a means of comparison. Well, how long does flu? How long does the common cold? How long does any other?
We're not health officials. We're
Right.
not. But those people
Right.
know, and I said that, I believe, last week as well. To me, they wouldn't be pushing this narrative if there wasn't something else for them. Like, because you hear everybody say it. It's just the flu. It's just the flu. Well, if it's just the flu, then why are they pushing this narrative so hard? Then why is there the World Health Organization so up in arms about it?
And it's
So
just,
If we hadn't seen a single image from China and the way they reacted, remember, this is a communist dictatorship where they just throw people in vans and take them away. If you hadn't seen none of that, and they come out and told you the numbers and what's going on with the disease, would we be shutting down sports and stuff the way we do, or would we be saying, Gobert's got it, Mitchell's got it, we'd still be playing? Coach K wouldn't have lost his mind, but and that's the thing. The reaction is like, how are they? We haven't seen in America anything like that, and it's nothing. It's been, for the most part, it's like 90% elderly and elderly home. One home in Washington actually has most of the deaths in America. So
one nursing home.
Nursing home has the majority of the death, all the deaths in America. So what I'm saying is that if you hadn't seen them acting the way they did in China, would we be acting kind of this way in America? Because that's the reaction of, what are you scared of? You're scared of catching it, and then you just see all these images and different reports coming from them. I think that put a fear in us more than maybe where we should be on. So I'm not saying don't clean anything. I'm just saying changing. We're doing a lot of changing our lives, shutting things down, and doing things, like I said, with this one mayor in Illinois, constitutionally / non-constitutionally. We're gonna have a lot of arguments here, and it's a dang election year, Tom.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot.
Everything that's done or moved is going to be blamed on one side or the other, or this person or that person.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, that's why it's just a weird thing. All right, guys. We did want to mention that the local schools, one more time, are providing, Cleveland County Schools providing meals for the students. I'm going to read through these one more time for the folks just joining us and getting on with us. Make sure I get some of this information out for you guys. Of course, now as soon as I click on it,
everything goes
every time I
out.
want to talk. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
With schools closed for the next 2 weeks, Cleveland County Schools will operate a lunch feeding program at 23 different schools. You pick up lunch 11 to 1. Lunch comes with next day's breakfast pre-packaged. Open to all with children under the age of 18. Nothing to sign. Just drive up and get your food. Sites without programs are Burns, Crest, and Kings Mountain High School, Shelby Middle School, North Shelby, and East Elementary. Parents of the kids at those schools can go to any of the other nearby schools and get the food. Districts will also start a meal delivery program. Tom was mentioning that they're trying to work that out. And the point of clarification on that, it's 11:30 to 1 each day for lunch. 11:30 to 1 each day for lunch. If you're watching and listening and not from Cleveland County, folks, tell someone from Cleveland County. It might help them out, or send them a message on Facebook, Twitter, wherever. Text them, say hello to some folks. Tell them KTC said.
Yeah, I just
said
read
food for the folks in Cleveland County.
Just read Major League Baseball has pushed back opening day to mid-May at the earliest, in accordance with CDC guidelines. So they're still hoping to play, just mid-May.
All right. So with that, I do want to let's get into some sports.
Well, really,
we'll get into football. In just
I'll
a
say
second.
the only thing we can really get into is football.
There is a basketball thing I want to talk about real quick before we get into the football. So the NBA is looking at options, and we discussed the other day, the NBA and baseball. Baseball could just cancel the games in April and May, and it wouldn't affect the season. You still have 120 games.
Right.
Just
I agree.
Cancel those games.
I agree.
Whenever you can play, pick them up. Nobody cares about the balance of your schedule. Just play your 120 games and shut up. Now basketball. Excuse me, throat dry.
Oh, whoa. Take that cough somewhere else. Purell.
Yeah, Purell. So what basketball, here's the ideas being thrown around. They can cancel the rest of the regular season and play the regular playoffs.
Do it. I don't need to see any more Hornets games.
It's a fair point.
Come on. You want to ask Borrego again.
Poor Tom.
I'll tell you who I am.
Tom was 2 days away from his family going to see the Cavs.
I know. I want to go see the Lakers too.
Tom,
that
would have been nice.
I was wondering why you didn't want the press passes, because that would have been your chance to ask someone from the Cleveland Cavaliers organization in your life to hold them to the fire, Tom.
I know.
Look, I've been doing this for 40 years, guys. Thanks for the one championship.
When are you going to build a winner? Why did you draft 2 point guards 2 drafts in a row?
Yeah.
And Anthony Bennett.
Yeah, I guess I'm
Bring up Anthony Bennett.
Yeah.
And they traded Wiggins.
Yeah.
The team really was not that good even before LeBron got there with Kyrie. But that's beside the point. Anyways,
right,
what's
so
the NBA
I'm glad
wanting to do?
you brought up Kyrie. That's what I wanted to talk about. So they're talking of pushing it. The players and everybody want to push the season as far back as they can. They don't start until what? October, November,
Yeah.
regular season.
Yeah.
So they're talking about even possibly back into July, August if they have to. With that said, Hunter, if they come back, I'm going to tell you what the format they're talking about come back. It was either play the regular games as the 8 teams, or everyone's in the playoffs, and you play to take up time, whatever 7-game series from there, 1 through 16 in each conference, and then there's only 15 in each conference. I think the one got the bye. They had
I don't care. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
So with that said,
Can you imagine the beat downs in the first round?
Well,
right?
hey,
but
you're going to get that regardless, though.
So with that, I do want to talk 3, 6, 9.
So Milwaukee, if with that, you would have Milwaukee gets the bye.
It was 1 or 3. I can't remember the exact numbers on how the bracket works. How would 15-team bracket?
Was there 17 teams there?
I think what it was, Hunter, is that 4 teams were going to have to play-in games to play the 1 seeds.
Okay.
So 2 on each side, and then play the 1 seeds. That's how it's worked out. Either way, the point I wanted to get to was that would be entertaining, right?
That would be very entertaining.
Now think about this:
7-game series. I love it.
If
they
we
probably
don't
would do 5, wouldn't you think?
Well, the mission was 7, maybe 5
Maybe.
early. First 2 rounds, 5s.
I'd be fine with that.
They used to do that back in the day.
I know.
Yeah.
It was
Now it's 7 for
you
everything.
remember the Nuggets upset, I think, the Spurs or Supersonics one year on an 8-1 seed out of the 5 games. I think that's what changed it. They didn't like that.
They didn't like it, yeah.
So look at this Eastern Conference.
I'm looking.
Hunter.
Yes.
See if you can follow along with me.
I'm looking.
If we don't start the playoffs until July,
Yeah.
who should be the favorite maybe in the East.
Oh, shut up. I know what you're getting at.
Huh?
Shut up. I know what you're getting
Huh?
at.
That number 7 team.
You're talking about
That number
because
17.
He would be.
I'm going to put some money on the number 17.
Yes, I know. All I had to do was look. I had to just take into consideration the time period you put in front of me and look at the teams.
June or
In
July.
June or July, Kevin Durant's back off.
I was getting ready to say, would Durant be ready by
He's
then?
Durant
already working out.
And Kyrie both could return for a playoff run that has been pushed back. And
They
if
can
that
bring
hap-
Kyrie back, though, even after shutting him down off
that's what they were
shoulder
talking
surgery?
about. That's what I was reading online last night. I was like, ooh, how big of a fit will LeBron privately pitch when no one's looking?
It doesn't matter. He'll play 2 games and then get hurt again.
Who?
Irving.
The Durantula?
Irving.
Kyrie. Let's talk about the Durantula.
Kyrie, yes. KD, I don't
No.
think
Tom,
so.
before the season, I told you that Kyrie was going to fake the hell out of an injury this season.
So he doesn't have to
he
play.
had no reason to play with Kevin Durant this year.
But I want you
had
to
no
think,
reason to go
what's
out there.
crazy, though, too, is the Brooklyn Nets have a better record when Kyrie is off the floor.
Yeah.
So, like, you wasted money there, bud.
He just, man.
They
He's a
should,
head case.
They
dude.
should trade him.
Trade Kyrie.
Trade him to who? Back to
Trade him.
Cleveland?
Whoever-
hey,
somebody
trade-
will take him.
Trade Kyrie and piss Kevin Durant off. I don't know about that. They're buddy. Him, KD, Kevin Durant, or KD, Kyrie Irving, and DeAndre Jordan are all buddy.
I'd trade him to the Lakers.
That's why I trade him to the Lakers for what? For what?
Danny Green.
Spot up shooter.
Hey,
I'm trying to think because
Dinwiddie's at the point
I'm about
guard.
to
What I
say
need Kyrie out here for?
Dinwiddie's already a great point guard that they
One
have.
of them's got to move. Dinwiddie or Kyrie's got to move.
I think Kyrie should go to the 2. As for
Oh,
as much,
that? Maybe. I mean, if you're playing Durant at 3, you're
Yeah, I
not
don't see
worried
why
about the
not.
height.
they put you, and they've got crazy height. They could put Jared Allen down low at the 4, and then DeAndre Jordan at the 5.
I was just excited about that possibility that the Durantula could be back.
I'm telling you, there's been videos of him working out,
Mhm.
and he looks good. I mean,
Tom, you like the 16 to everybody in the playoffs, or cut it to the regular, kick everybody out? They don't play no more this season.
What I would do is just cut it off there. Got our 1 through 8. Let's roll.
dude,
you already
I'd
got
be
it.
fine with that too.
Mhm.
Finish the rest of the season's done.
The thing is, it's a money thing. They're losing all the revenue. So what they could do is open it up, and still you got to, like Kevin
Well,
says,
see,
you would sell some hot dogs
If they
you
did,
had it.
if they did, every team is in the playoffs. Technically, that would be the most revenue they could ask for because the Hornets would be in a playoff game. You know, like
Yeah.
these small teams would be in playoff games.
Cleveland at 19 and
you
46
literally
would be in a
could
playoff
go.
game.
Oh,
Well,
a
y'all would
team-
be in the play-in, Tom, against Atlanta.
Who's a team?
Oh, okay. yeah.
Like who's
Hey,
a,
that would be fun.
Like, I'm
That
looking-
one-
Y'all get
I
a
might go
one-game
down to
playoff.
Atlanta, yeah,
like
go.
I'm just looking here and I'm like, okay, well, what team has not been in the playoffs for like maybe 10, 15 years, and then this will be the outlier. It's like, oh, you made it. Due to just because of this, is you made it.
Just
You
think
know.
about if LeBron spent this whole season thinking they're going to go
Wait, no, I
and
got a
win, and
question.
then Durant comes back.
I got a question, and it's a really quick question. Tom, did you like and share?
I have not yet. I have not.
And the only reason I asked that's because
Did it come
I
up
don't-
on the phone?
I don't have my computer in front of me, or else I would have liked and shared already. But I'll
Dang,
put
Hunter,
it
yours
on.
is in my car. Do I need to go get it for you?
No, don't worry about
I-
it.
I-
I've got
okay.
technology in my hand.
Okay.
I
See,
actually
but
have a
usually-
laptop in my truck right now. I
Right.
do, but I didn't even think about coming in.
But-
Yeah, that's everywhere that I'm.
But
reading right
usually
now.
I get like an alert, like a YouTube alert, but I didn't get one.
Oh no! CDC recommends men shave their beards to protect against the coronavirus. Thanks, but no thanks, dude. I'm sorry.
I'm glad these guys are taking all the precautions to keep everybody else safe.
I'm sorry.
I tried to give him hand sanitizer when he called. No, me no need that. No. Let me see.
Well, unless one of y'all was coming over here to lick this microphone.
Well, no, I'm just kidding. Definitely.
I just said it survived on the surfaces, Kevin. Did
Definitely not. Definitely not. So I'm glad that we're all liking and sharing right now. Speaking of,
I was
if you're
trying to
lis-
find
if you're listening,
my notes from today. I wasn't liking and sharing.
if you're listening, and you're enjoying the content, like and share. Tell your friends about us, and don't be afraid to get in the chat. We love to hear from you guys.
I
I
was
know
trying to
there's
see if
not-
there's any more NBA before I move to the
definitely
NFL.
get in the chat now, and just if you've got any information for people that are listening, that maybe about your local school systems as well as we go through this time, you can put it in there as well. Also, if you're listening, got any questions for us, we'll be able to look up here. We've got you pulled up in front of us, and we'll get to your question as soon as we remember to look up. So there you go. That's
Everybody's-
my engagement.
Everybody's taking their shot shots and all this stuff.
Taking their shots.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Windhorst and
Windhorst.
McMahon. How
Brian
easily
Windhorst.
can the virus spread during a basketball game? Everybody's touching a basketball. How do you sanitize that? Everyone's going to touch the thing unless you play for the Rockets.
Who said that?
One of the basketball reporters, Tim McMahon.
I actually watched James Harden in person, and that is very likely to happen. That not too many other people get the ball.
Well, hey, I will say this. So the Rockets move off of Chris Paul and get Russell Westbrook. And which one of the two teams is having more success? The Thunder or the Rockets? It looks like the Thunder and Chris Paul are having a more successful season than the Rockets with Russell Westbrook and James Harden. So maybe that ball hog crap don't really work in the NBA.
I tell you what don't work, and this is why.
Give it to me. Come on.
Is Daryl Morey.
Yes.
And the reason it doesn't work, you can look at analytics all
day.
you want.
It doesn't matter.
You can't have one ball hog guard.
Well, here's the thing.
They have two.
Yeah.
They have not one ball hog. They have two.
And they're guards.
If
Both
you're
of them
a
are guards.
forward on that team,
You hate
would
your
you
life.
ever run the floor?
No, Clint Capella was so happy they got rid of him and started to play small ball. But here's the thing as well. I think that the Rockets, talent-wise on that roster, super talented. I do not think Mike D'Antoni is the coach for them. I 100% honest. I don't think D'Antoni's offense.
Two guys on the same team.
I don't think D'Antoni's offense can win a championship at all. I don't care what team he goes to, how much talent he has. That offense cannot win a championship.
You know where Russell Westbrook would be really good, and that is Dallas. When you have a tall, slower point guard, he needs like what Iverson had. And he needed to point someone else to run the point, and to run the point, not dribble up between his legs 50 times.
Well, me and my
Westbrook,
friends have always
James
said,
Harden.
look, Russell Westbrook he's talented. He's uber athletic and he's talented. But he would be the best two guard over a
He'd be a
point
good
guard.
two guard.
You don't need to have the ball in your hands every time. He is so athletic and has so much energy. Whoever's trying to guard him will give up after the second quarter starts because he just will move all around, get the ball, slash to the lane, and dunk on anybody that's in front of him. Him as a two guard would be fantastic. James Harden, and they play small ball anyways, move him to a small three. Could you imagine that team if they would have had Chris Paul at the 1, Russell Westbrook at the 2, and James Harden at the 3? I think that would have been pretty damn good because Chris Paul will get anybody the ball. I mean, he might go out there and get you a quiet 16 to 20 points, but he's going to get you 10 to 15 assists regardless. And he plays defense, something that the rest of that team really just doesn't do. So,
And he's a good leader.
he is very good. He's a good leader, and I think that's exactly what the Oklahoma City Thunder really needed with that young core that they have after shipping off, everybody else. Paul George left, Russell Westbrook's gone, KD left years before they traded James Harden. So the young nucleus that they have now, I think Chris Paul really fit that, and I'm excited to see how they go. And that, what did that say? KD's agent is what, eyeing the summer?
He said he's not. His agent said he's not, but we'll see about that.
I see.
You see I'll listen to what the player says. The player's working out right now.
I was about to say, I'll listen
It's
to the
March.
players.
He was supposed to be ready for practice in June anyway.
Did you see that?
What?
Okay, so you know how I was talking about the other day? This would be the perfect opportunity for ESPN to rush and push forward while there's no sports. The 10-part documentary on Michael Jordan's Bulls, The Last Dance. It's supposed to come out in June.
10-part.
10 parts.
Wow.
I'm telling. They were talking all about the Bulls, all about the '90s, the run.
Tom, when you're the GOAT, it takes a while, man.
And
You're back when you're
but
back.
now it said. So I saw one of the commercials the other night, and it did run June when it was supposed to be June 2nd. Now it says coming soon.
Yeah,
They're feeling the public pressure. We've almost got them, guys.
I watched a little bit of the Michael Vick one last night, and it just, man, it's
all that talent,
man,
so talented.
man.
But NBA wise, I mean, if we're not going to have games, give me probably the most interesting documentary that ESPN has ever done. I like their 30 for 30s. I like the Rand University, the one about Randy Moss. I liked the convicts versus Catholics with Miami and Notre Dame. You play this one, this might be some of the highest ratings you've had in a long time because we don't have anything else to watch. You're running reruns, for God's sakes. The other night I went to a sports bar. I was sitting there watching. Now it was a great game they were showing, the 2011 UConn Big East championship game when Kemba Walker hit probably the greatest step back jumper of all time. Yeah. So I was enjoying it, but at the same time I'm like, I've seen it. You know, I missed live sports. So at least give us something new. If you put fresh content out there, people will tune in for it.
Well, I guess you'll be watching some Netflix here. There's nothing else.
I mean, I guess I can probably try and finish the Aaron Hernandez document series, I guess.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't watched that one, but I really wanted to watch the one on Michael Vick because I do really think
that was his fall from greatness.
It's just I think you get caught up in something, and the general consensus, I guess, was we were doing something. I guess we didn't realize how wrong it was until somebody else. You get a different perspective, and there were still people in those interviews were like, "So what'd we do?" You know that? I mean, you could just tell there was a couple of them. Now you could tell Vic had remorse, but a couple of them were like, "So what'd we do? We were just doing what we always did." And it's sad when you get caught up in something like that. It just kind of ruins you like that. But
sorry,
Kevin, I thought you were about to puke everywhere.
Well, I was trying to keep from laughing and while you were talking at the same time, and it did sound like puked all over.
It scared me now. I was about to say, you're sitting here coughing
this guy.
and you're puking.
I was trying to keep a laugh in. All right, I'm reading on the iRacing stuff.
Oh, the iRacing.
Yeah.
What I was about to say, you were like, you know how sometimes people get caught up in things and they don't realize it's bad. Yeah. The CBA that they just went through for football, they passed the CBA, so we got another 10 years of football. Great, and there's no work stoppage.
For 10 years, that's what got me.
Yeah, for 10 years. Well, they do it like every other. I think they did that on purpose for 10 years and 10 years and 10 years. They do that, and then also, so we got the 17th game. We're going to get an extra playoff game, but you talk about getting caught up in things. Josh Gordon is punching a wall right now because the NFL just decided that they will no longer test for cannabis.
Yeah, I saw something about that, too.
He is so mad because he's like, man, that is what haunted me this whole career. They kept saying, I needed help. And if he thinks he needs help, then that's fine. And now now you stop testing for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know towards the end of his career last year, it was cut short last year. You know, he was not looking as in shape. I mean, he was kind of fat, but I mean, he was still productive.
Yeah.
And they decided he needed to go and get more help. Now, he might have more off the field issues than just, weed. But still, all those guys that were out of the league that because they were smoking weed, and then the CBA comes out and says, you know what? Hey, we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to test for cannabis. We're not going, or if they do, there's no suspensions for cannabis. So it's like, oh, well, dang, now they all going to be high.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. If it helps you get through the pain, fine. Do what you got to do. But
well, there was some stuff. There was stuff in there for rookies. I think they're going to get a pay raise.
Yeah.
Some of the guys don't like it because they basically say, "Oh, for a little extra money, we're supposed to go out and risk ourselves for another game and another playoff game."
But see, and I read a lot of reports as well. The ones that are really upset over the deal are the superstars. Because, like you said, they have to go out there and play another game. But the majority of the players, that aren't superstars, that's an extra game check.
They did a lot better.
They're excited about it. They're like, man, this is enough. And they increased the revenue share. It was literally only by 1.5%.
Yeah,
but they still increased it. So
what's 1% of $1 billion?
I mean, it's still a lot.
Would you take that?
Yeah, I would take it. So for those, the Aaron Rodgers and all the guys making a couple $100 million off their huge contracts, the big name guys, I would be probably more than likely one of the other guys that just looks at them and says, dude, suck it up. I'm glad you made your money. You're not going to stop me from making mine. I mean, do you want the owner to keep the rest of this money, or do you want me to get my money? I thought we were teammates, Like, I thought you would be happy for me to make more money off of a game check.
Well, it was kind of funny how the picture was on the Los Angeles Times. They had Ryan Fitzpatrick saying he voted for it.
Yeah.
Like guys like him would definitely vote for it because, if you're not making the top money.
Exactly.
Then you would definitely do it. An extra playoff game, that'll be fun. 14 teams get in it. Maybe Cleveland can actually make it. because they haven't been there since 2002.
Dog, I hope this happens.
Yeah.
So, today is officially the day where NFL teams and players can actually start they call it the legal tampering moment.
Right.
They can actually reach out and talk to players. Stephon Diggs just tweeted, "It's time for a new beginning." And bring him home, baby. Bring him to DC. Come on, dude. We have Scary Terry on one side, Stephon Diggs on the other. If we can get a tight end, we're golden. I know people are going to say, well, who's going to throw him the ball,
Right,
Hunter?
you got a problem.
Look,
There's the Ohio State problem in your backfield
There's
right now.
not an Ohio State problem in our backfield
Yes,
now.
there is.
No, there ain't. Look, we are fine. We are fine. But it is kind of funny because there are a lot of what has happened within the last few hours have been some big moves. And really, that's the only thing we can really, sports-wise, that we can say is actually happening currently and live is just the trades that are happening right now. Free agents that might, they might be getting signed early because free agency technically doesn't start until Wednesday. But we've seen some moves so far, and some of the bigger names have been trades.
The Browns signed the tight end from Atlanta.
Did they officially sign him?
Yes, they did. They made him the highest paid. He got 4 years, $44 million.
Look at that. Look at that.
I want to say, what's the guy's name? I don't want to say it wrong.
Austin Hooper?
Who is it?
Yes,
It's Hooper,
Austin Hooper.
right?
Yeah,
I want to
Austin
say it was Hopper, but it's Hooper.
Austin Hooper, he did come out and
Yeah.
say, the if nobody else offers me a good contract, he's leaning the Browns. So that's another weapon.
Njoku was they have very high.
Yeah,
but they're
Njoku.
talking about him to your team, the Redskins, because what's the name of the offensive lineman that Washington wants to get rid of?
Trent
Williams.
Right, Williams. They're maybe a Njoku for
Well,
Williams with some other guys.
I'll be 100% honest with you. I'm fine with that because Trent Williams wants a lot of money. That's the only reason he would stay. He wants a lot of money. Also, unfortunately for Washington, we couldn't re-sign our other. I think he was a right tackle. Or he was our other guard, Eric Flowers. Miami just picked him up. We offered him $8 million. They offered him $10 million. That's fine. We didn't want to go to 10. Okay, so we have some offensive line problems that we have. But with us releasing Jordan Reed, and what's his name, Vernon Davis retiring, our tight end position is almost nothing. We signed a guy off of some team's like practice squad or something, or he was like a second or third string tight end somewhere else. But we do need like a stud go-to tight end because every team now, they need their George Kittle. They need an Austin Hooper. They need a Travis Kelce. Somebody that came underneath the Tony Gonzalez, Rob Gronkowski type tight ends that can go out there and get you some receiving yards. Njoku, I think, would be perfect. I know we were targeting Hooper. Green Bay was targeting Hooper because Green Bay's moving off of Jimmy Graham. They're letting him walk. So if someone can actually get production out of Jimmy Graham, then you should go all in on him.
You know what the problem with those guys is? Who's going to cover them? Who's going to
exactly?
cover them? You gotta cover them
people
with
forget Jimmy Graham played college basketball. Same thing like how with Julius Peppers, they was so like they're just so athletic. He played college basketball at Miami.
They're almost not cover. I mean, a lot of those DBs are what 5'10", standing on a brick, and you got these guys
not all of them that are like the safeties were Cam Chancellor, who was like 6'4" and just built like a brick house. They're all kind of small because the problem is the tight end is too fast for the linebacker to cover him.
Right.
And the DBs
are
too small to get up in his grill.
Right.
So it just makes it's a huge mismatch.
The hardest thing about covering, I would say, a tight end that's bigger and usually as a corner, you're faster than a tight end. So you're just kind of running with him and waiting on the quarterback to throw, and then you're going to make a break. Once they're as fast as you and they're taller than you, you have to play because their routes are kind of what Jason Witten did with his Y route. He would run right at you and then adjust. And that's some of the routes are weird like that to where they're not running a fancy wide receiver route. Like it's a totally different guard. And once the guy can catch, it is a problem having to worry about the safety. The height to me didn't matter as much because at the end of the day, most passes are going to be caught in your head range, so you can kind of jump and get up there with it. It's the being out of position because the guy is bigger than you is the issue. Because a lot of times in DB, you like to be in a certain spot when the ball's thrown. That's where the size comes into play, is guarding that, and then kind of with the box out move, and you end up getting in the wrong spot at the wrong time. I think that's the biggest issue in guarding.
Skip Bayless. Why's he got to have the camera so close to his face?
Why does that bother you?
I just like, why? I know you're at home, but why you gotta be like this?
Why does that bother you?
I don't understand. Well, he's
Why does that burn your britches?
It does burn. He's commenting obviously on one of the bigger trades that we'll get to here in a little bit, unless you want to just get to it now.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Because there are so many trades that are just happening back and forth, back and forth. You know, like I said, Stephon Diggs just says time for a new change. These players are starting to obviously give cryptic tweets, but it usually means something. For God's sakes, even the Vikings just extended Kirk Cousins' contract on 2 years. I mean, he won him a playoff game, so that's not, you know. Oh, and before we get to anything, the news that happened yesterday, I know we already talked about some signings, but the biggest news, officially, the first domino and the possibility of the Tom Brady saga fell with the Titans re-signing Ryan Tannehill to a lucrative deal. What, 4 years?
I didn't see
Oh,
that.
4
yeah.
years, $118 million.
Yeah.
Is what it was.
They gave him $118 million.
Yeah, they
yes,
did.
in 4 years.
And they franchise tagged Derrick Henry.
So
who was that offense?
So the
they
quarterback,
gave him the tag.
the quarterback gets $90 million guaranteed, 118 over 4 years, and the guy who carried him there gets franchised at $15 million.
So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you
Play
that
quarterback.
you've just tied up so much money in that.
Here, I will give Ryan Tannehill this much credit. When he took over the starting position over Marcus Mariota, technically in his statistics, he was the highest rated quarterback in the NFL.
Well, I know his arm's not real tired because he threw it about 5 times a game.
You're right.
I mean, you know.
I mean, and he had great numbers, and I think this is not a bad deal for the Titans. I can understand the whole, well, if you were in win it now mode, you should have went and got Brady. But if you can keep your team together that you already had last year, give Tannehill the full offseason to work with your offense, I mean, you were literally ahead on the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. I mean, they just so happened to be the best team in football. I think we can sit here and say that the Kansas City Chiefs officially were the best team in football. So what did they do? They went on to win the championship. But you were ahead on the best team in football. Like, you don't have a bad squad. You just got to know what the remedy was. You were up because you ran the ball, and then you decided to make it a quarterback battle. And even then, today, I still think Patrick Mahomes outduels Tom Brady. So that's a lose-lose either way. You can't outduel Patrick Mahomes. You got to find another way to beat him.
Not with everybody he's got, but is everybody coming back? Was
I just don't know about Sammy Watkins. I think everybody else is at least coming back. And
They're talking about letting Watkins go in and drafting one of the 50 receivers in the draft.
I was going to say, they can
Actually,
do that.
what they're talking about is them picking whoever the fastest receiver in the draft is, no matter what he is, just to have the speed out there with their offense.
They're going to be fine.
And
they franchise tag defensive tackle Chris Jones.
So the DeAndre Hopkins, what it's saying is that they're trying to get draft picks and to pay their left tackle and Deshaun Watson.
If I'm not mistaken, their left tackle they traded for was Tunsil.
They don't want to have to pay Hopkins in a draft loaded with wide receivers, so they're going to look to replace Hopkins with a rookie in the draft. Hunter, what about Hopkins in Arizona?
I think, in all seriousness, this just makes the NFC West easily the toughest division in football.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It does, easily. The Seahawks, we know what they are. The Rams are a year removed from the Super Bowl. The 49ers were in the Super Bowl this year. And then you had a team in the Cardinals that beat the Seahawks once. They took the 49ers to overtime once, and they had beaten the Rams already that season as well. So they were already competitive even without a lot of talent and an aging Larry Fitzgerald. Now you give Kyler Murray arguably the top 5, if not the top 3 best wide receiver in the NFL. I know, and they got rid of, let's not act like it was just for nothing. They had to get rid of their running back, David Johnson. I know he's been injury prone, but when he's healthy, he's very good. He's like a Le'Veon Bell type back. He can catch it out of the backfield, might not have the speed, but he's very, very good. Let's not act like they didn't give up something. But we've seen running backs that you can come by them at any time. Arizona, more than likely, in this offensive left tackle especially, heavy class, it should draft Kyler Murray left tackle. The defense, you never really know what they're going to do with. They're still not great. But that easily cements the NFC West as the toughest division in football.
Well, see, and they can make some moves now as long as they've got Murray on that rookie contract. They
That's
don't
exactly
have the
right.
big money tied
That's
up.
exactly
That's
right.
why I don't understand.
Arizona,
I mean,
and
Would
think
you rather
about
be
it.
paying Kyler Murray $5 million or Ryan Tannehill $30 million?
I was just about to say. I mean, they just wait. Of course, they're criticizing the Browns for paying $11 million a year for a tight end, but that
You
doesn't-
guys are loaded on the weapons. I don't
Yeah.
care. If Baker figures it out, who's guarding Odell, Jarvis, Hooper? You know, the
If they
two
can
or
all-
three
if they
running
can-
backs you have.
Well,
they
they
can-
got a bunch of matadors on
somebody-
the line right now.
if somebody,
You're drafting one. Just know
what's
that.
a tag? I just read about it. What do they call it when? All right, I'm going to give this guy a certain tag. If anybody else signs, then they have to give me a second round draft pick.
I think it's just
Temper?
Talk about the transition.
No, it's not
No,
a
no, no.
transition tag. It's
The
like a
one.
temper
Well,
tag
it's
or
the
something
one.
like that.
It's well. I'll tell you this. The one that I know of that I can tell you where it's the opposite of that is the exclusive tag, and that's what they just put on Dak.
Mhm.
But spoilers, people. They franchise tag Dak Prescott. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, well, they put the tag on Hunt where if they get a chance to match, and if they don't,
Okay.
they get a second round pick from the team that
It's
signs him.
I don't know like that. There's like 3 or 4 different tags. I have no
Right.
idea, but you
Right.
can only use one. Thanks to the new CBA, you can't use multiple tags now. You can only use one because that's why.
Also,
since-
this is going away. All these other tags, like
This year because
year.
of the collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah, because
Okay.
of the
because
CBA.
of the new CBA. They're not all going away. It's just this off season is what they're doing because I think because they created new money
Mhm.
and there's no something that is tied into why they don't need
Because
to.
as soon as the Dallas Cowboys, breaking news, obviously, it's everywhere, they exclusive tagged Dak Prescott. That means Byron Jones, Amari Cooper, Randall Cobb, and somebody else officially hit free agency because they can't be tagged.
Byron
either.
Jones is gone. What they're saying they're going to try to work out a deal with Amari Cooper. Jones is they're letting him test free agency and see if they would match. I don't think they're going to match. I think someone's going to give him. Someone always overpays for a corner, so I think that's what's going to happen. with that
Washington.
situation.
didn't they
will
cut Norman?
overpay
Didn't they
for-
cut Norman?
Yeah, he's
Or was it
with
a trade?
Buffalo.
Was it a cut or a trade?
I don't know.
No,
They're
they
in
cut
Buffalo
him.
now.
He's in
Yeah.
Buffalo now.
See, everybody thought when Rivera went back up there that Norman was going to stay.
Oh well, I could go ahead. And
Obviously,
read
he
you.
didn't like him.
I could go ahead and read you this. Like it's a whole list of people that the front office is going to be interested in at least making runs for. I've seen, Byron Jones is going to be one that the Redskins make a run for because we do need a cornerback. Another one is Bradbury coming out of Carolina. He's got ties, obviously, with Ron Rivera.
That's probably who you
That
are.
might
leaning at.
we might run after a player that we had before but just won a Super Bowl, Kendall Fuller, cornerback for the Chiefs, because now we're tipping on the point where can the Chiefs re-sign everybody? I don't think it's going to be the case on
gonna
that
be tough.
defense. So defensively, we're looking to fill the corner positions because let me be honest, everywhere else, I mean, we're about to be loaded, especially if we take Chase Young still at 2. We're just we can get
When-
after the quarterback. Just can we defend in the air? That's what we're working
When
at.
it's time for Mahomes to get paid, it's going to be hard for Kansas City because he's going to get paid.
Well, Patrick,
Well, that's what
Big
Dak is asking. Dak's asking for more
Dak,
money. He wants more than Mahomes.
money. And Mahomes just won a Super Bowl. Like, and his
There are people arguing on TV right now that Dak should be paid more than Jared Goff because he's won more division titles.
and Jared Goff
Not
made
that
a
Goff
Super
made
Bowl.
the Super Bowl division title. Like
But if you're going to give a guy like Tannehill that money, I guess that gives Dak a leg to stand. on.
Another
oh, yeah.
Well,
That-
I want you to think about it. That's the first quarterback though that the domino's fallen. I want you to understand. I've read reports multiple today. The Chicago Bears are in conversations with Teddy Bridgewater, and they're also in conversations with Jacksonville on a possible trade for Nick Foles. Now I don't know about the Nick Foles, but if they
I like Bridgewater.
the rumor what is being stated is if they are working on a deal that will make Teddy Bridgewater the starter in Chicago, essentially saying Trubisky, you're going to sit on the bench unless they can find a trade partner.
See,
for him.
Trubisky's still on his rookie contract,
Yes.
so you might be able to get a decent round pick out of him.
I mean, you
Kevin?
can get something. I mean,
You get
you
something
you
out of
could unload some cap and bring
Yeah.
him in if you really wanted to.
It's just bad to see him struggle the way he has.
Yeah.
I mean, I just thought that he would definitely. I thought he would have been better than
Yeah,
what he
it
was.
seems and I'm just
he-
reading. I'm keeping up with what comes through Twitter. Adam Schefter, I will never take any of this. This stuff that I know. I don't have inside information. But Adam Schefter said multiple teams have approached Jacksonville about Nick Foles for weeks. To date, Jacksonville has been unwilling to trade him. Still feels that way, but you never know if some other team gets aggressive, which to me, I completely understand maybe holding on to Nick Foles if the Minshew project doesn't really work out next year and you can come back to Nick Foles.
Do you think Foles is just a system guy? I
Yes.
mean, you know.
Yes.
I mean, I think that's the
it's
thing.
statistics will show. Anywhere
Yeah.
else outside of Philadelphia, he's subpar, but in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
he's the Super Bowl champions.
I mean,
Tom.
because if you're just a system guy, then there's only so many
You can
places.
say the same
you can
thing
go.
about every quarterback, though.
He-
I don't know
he-
if they'd say it about Russell Wilson. You know,
Now,
somebody
I
like
will
that,
agree. I
okay?
think Russell Wilson and Mahomes could win anywhere.
I mean, but
Nick-
I just think you know, like
they're
like
special.
like Tannehill. Is it Tannehill, the system guy, right? I mean, if you put Tannehill in Pittsburgh or New England, is he going to have the success that he did
Tannehill.
there?
I read something, and someone made a very good point. Tannehill in his years at Miami, I don't think he had a single year where he was healthy.
Yeah, that's true.
He had an ACL tear at one point. He's had multiple lower extremity injuries. So maybe if he just has a season where he's healthy, he can finally show you what he's made of.
Tom,
And I think that's what Tennessee would like.
Since 2015, Nick Foles has more playoff wins than Cam Newton.
I know he's. I know he's
Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, Jared Goff, Russell Wilson, Ryan Tannehill, Jimmy Garoppolo, Osweiler, both the Mannings combined, Case Keenum, Andrew Luck, Dak Prescott, Phillip Rivers, Deshaun Watson, and Kirk Cousins.
Doesn't
Nick
he have like
Foles
4 or 5?
has more playoff wins since
Because I'm trying to
2015
think.
than
They didn't.
all of those.
They got in. Obviously, they won their division that year. He took over when Carson Wentz went. So that's 1, 2. That's 3. I think he's got 4.
He's got 4.
because he won one the next
Yep.
year.
Him and Mahomes both have 4. Tom Brady's the only quarterback since 2015 with more playoff wins than Nick
Which
Foles.
isn't surprising.
there's
It's
so much
probably
parity.
like
There's-
15, isn't it?
There's 22 quarterbacks that have won a playoff game since Cam Newton.
No,
last won a
no.
playoff.
I'm talking about how many playoff wins does Tom Brady have since
8.
2015? 8. Okay, I was supposed to say
He's
it's
got
probably
twice-
one-
he's got twice as many.
Yeah,
Yes,
because
they're
he's there all the time. Like nothing surprises me.
I was just about to say, once you get past the Patriots, it's a lot of parity.
But like,
Yeah.
but people
Oh,
will
yeah.
sit here and be diehard about all these quarterbacks. This guy's a franchise. This guy's a franchise. Then I'm like, well, Nick Foles got the most wins. I'm like, then Tom over here. Well, that's the what'd you say system
guy.
But I guess and like what you were saying is everybody's kind of a
Technically,
system.
if you put a guy in something that works, I mean, then it was a
Brady's system is everybody run out there and run zigzags till I find one of you open, and then the defense will keep it close, and we hope we can win at the end. I mean, that's their system.
I think systems guy is just like a cliche, kind of like possession receiver. You
Yeah.
know, it's just one of those
Yeah.
cliches.
I
You throw
agree.
about a guy who's kind of mediocre
agree.
who has shown flashes of brilliance.
he's going to throw two touchdowns a game and
Well,
not 4.
I'm not going to be surprised if Jacksonville does unload off of the contract that they have Nick Foles under. Not just because of that, but so far, I think, honest to God, Jacksonville's just like, dude, it's rebuild time. They've traded away 2 defensive players, Calais Campbell as well, who they just moved off, sent him to Baltimore
They still
for
got the
draft
running back. They
picks.
still got the running back.
Fournette. They still got Leonard
They
Fournette.
still got him. so.
But see, I think I'm surprised Jacksonville is doing that. I know they have the big money tied up in Nick Foles, but they're in the position if they want to ride with Gardner Minshew, they're on a rookie contract right now.
Why
Why not?
That's what I keep saying.
Every
is like,
team with a low paid quarterback, I would just
I would buy in.
pound your defense with all the money you can.
That's how Kansas City did it. I mean, look at
Oh, I
what
know.
they had
Look,
on that
they
team.
did. They had.
Till
I will give
Seattle
you,
got
they
there.
have talent.
because you have a $40 million quarterback making $5 million.
The only
so you got
outlier
a lot
right
of
there, the
money.
outlier right there, but even then, he's cheap right now is Garoppolo. Even though Garoppolo is technically paid, he's cheap compared to
Compared to
everybody
the
else.
others.
He's only making like what, 22, 23 million a year?
I tell you what, he missed one throw in the fourth quarter.
That was
Boy,
it.
they
Well, that
drilling
was-
him, man.
yeah.
Gosh
Oh, that's
almighty.
it. That's all it takes.
Holy cow.
They zoomed in. What they never should have done was shown the instant replay of him getting hit and throwing that ball with his eyes closed.
Yeah, well.
And that he will never live that down.
But that was the kind of crazy scenario I think the guys on TV try to talk
Yeah.
about because they're showing Tom Brady in his little 49ers uniform growing up and
Yeah.
da-da-da-da-da.
I know.
What do you want to go
Well, now
out
the
there?
question-
What do you want to go? Because he was a 49ers fan when
Right.
he was a kid.
Well, now the
I don't-
question can really be, so Houston makes the quarterfinals, or what was it, the semifinals before the AFC Championship game.
Mhm.
They had Hopkins on the team. I mean, he was a huge difference maker in a lot of games because he is top
I
2
think
or
their
3
coach
wide
is-
receiver.
Now, he's not.
Is a moron.
Now, tell,
He's the general manager
I know, that's
too
why.
right now. I think he's an
He's a
idiot too.
terrible GM.
now back up. They traded him where? Hopkins?
Hopkins is in
Arizona.
Arizona. now.
Arizona. Okay, Arizona.
So Arizona essentially has got old reliable and Larry Fitzgerald and top 3 wide receiver in the league, DeAndre Hopkins.
All they need to do is re-sign Anquan Bolden when
They're
they're rocking. And there's all right, Tom.
Here,
If
go ahead.
You're Tom,
Yeah.
right?
I am.
Brady. Kind of.
If I was
If
Tom
you're
Brady,
Tom
I'd be
Brady.
taller, better
Hey,
looking, and have a
wait
lot more
at
money.
22 years old, who is in better shape, Tom Sinofani or Tom Brady?
At 22.
Have you seen the pictures of Brady at the
at the
combine?
combine. They're not pretty.
Yeah, but I wasn't very pretty at age 22 either. I might have had an occasional adult beverage while I was in college.
Well, how about 19?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever been in better shape than Tom Brady.
That's the first thing that
I don't know,
pops
Tom.
up.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's better looking than 95% of guys without their shirt
I want you
on.
to tell you what. Look
That
at
is.
look at how far he's come though.
I guarantee if
The
you
dude's
go,
a model
if,
now.
If you go to Burns High School and tell everybody to line up with no shirt on, Tom Brady's going to look better than every single one of them without his shirt on. He's just not very. He's just not very muscular. That's the thing. He's just not,
There's Tom without, and if you're watching online and not listening to the podcast and watching on the Facebook, there's a ripped Brady who looked like he never picked up a single weight in his life in college or high school. Like
he doesn't look very big.
Look at
does
his chest, Tom. How many push-ups or bench presses has that chest done in
It's
its life?
almost concave.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, this is after college.
I
This
know.
ain't like I'm going to Michigan. This is hey, I've been at Michigan preparing for this my whole life.
But
and this is what I
will
come out
say,
looking
there
like.
are some guys that hate to lift weights. They hate to
Yeah.
lift
Well,
weights.
you know, some basketball players don't like to lift weights either because they say it messes their shot up.
Yeah.
Some football, quarterbacks might not want to do a bunch of arm workouts because it mess up their throwing motion. It's understandable, but I mean,
Yeah, they just don't like that.
the
Who's that
DK,
guy?
that's
Who'd they put-
DK,
Oh.
that's DK Metcalf. Good lord.
That's what you're supposed to look like coming into the draft, as opposed to one
Kevin,
Brady.
there are a handful of guys that look like that. I tell you,
Tom,
I,
there's a first-round pick and a sixth-round pick
I,
right there.
I tell you,
DK Metcalf wasn't a first round
if
pick.
I'm
you-
just
I remember
Second
when
round
Ricky
pick.
Williams first came into the league, and that guy was running around with no shirt on. I mean, he looked like a Greek statue out there.
Ricky
I was like,
Williams.
The biggest
"Good
person
Lord."
I've ever seen is David Boston.
Yeah, he was ripped too. Boy, he was really ripped.
He was kicked out of the league a couple of times.
Yeah,
Imagine.
that guy,
What-
I mean, he was.
What
ripped.
makes that arm
Imagine.
that big? Look at that.
Well, look, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like, very defined there. But you want to know who's just big, massive, and isn't defined? JJ Watt. You see how big he is, really?
Yeah,
My
I don't-
God.
I don't care if he's defined or not. I'm not messing with JJ Watt.
Sean
No, I'm not.
Marion.
I mean, I'm not either.
Nice, David.
I'm not.
I'm
either.
not going to say, Mr. Watt, have you been lifting weights? You
Yeah,
look a
yeah.
little-
You look a little small
a
right
little
now.
pudgy
You look
there.
a little, you look kind of small right now.
Maybe you
There's
need to hit the
DK
push-ups.
Metcalf right
no,
there.
that's not DK Metcalf.
Who's that? Is
Oh,
that
God.
Rogue?
That's
Was that Boston?
No,
But
I'm not sure who that is.
I think that
That's not
photo was
DK.
altered.
There's David Boston. I remember that in ESPN magazine. He's a big
that's,
old.
that's DK down there. That's in below.
None of those can be confused with Tom Brady. Tom.
No,
Uh-uh.
they cannot. I didn't see that.
So if you're Tom Brady, that's where I was getting at. It's down to 3 teams apparently: Chargers, Buccaneers, and Patriots.
I'm surprised Indianapolis's name isn't thrown around in there. I mean,
They keep saying-
nothing's set in stone with Rivers.
They got a statue with
What's-
Peyton Manning on it.
Yeah,
out
but
there they
to,
don't
to
want.
me that's like
The house that Peyton
that's
built
like
can get pulled
childish.
down.
Do you go get the team that's beating you all these years though?
I mean, that's just
Do you go get the player that beat you all those years? That's what's kind of weird about it.
yeah, I
Will the Redskins
guess.
try to sign Roger Staubach or?
No.
Yeah, that's what,
The question
kinda-
was, were the Redskins going to try and
Right.
sign Dak if they didn't sign him?
that would be a very, very good question.
I mean, I don't know.
So I mean,
So essentially, I think out
If
of
you're
all
Brady,
those
what you doing?
teams, because the report I read, again, I just all I can do is read because unlike some of these league insiders, we don't have I can't pick up the phone and be like, hey Robert, y'all got anything going on up there, Mr. Kraft?
call him up.
Can you tell me something that I don't know already about Tom? But everything
know
I'm
what-
read is that
you know what he
they're
would say
not-
if you did that.
Yeah.
Who are you?
who are you? Yeah, you'd say, who are you? And
are
like,
you?
first of all, Mr. Kraft, who are you to go down there and get hand jobs? Never mind, I can't say that.
don't do
Uh,
that.
let's
Don't
not do that. Anyways, I think Because what I did read is that they're not close to an agreement in New England. I think San Diego is going to make the run. Or they're not San Diego. They're L.A., the Chargers. You know what I'm talking about.
They're still San Diego.
They're still San Diego to a lot of us. Same thing with Oakland. They're not quite Las Vegas to me yet. But the Chargers, I think, will be the ones that make the run. And I think it's because they got to sell tickets. You know, they're getting ready to go into this new stadium. At a soccer stadium, they couldn't even sell out tickets.
So
they
what
need a
they're going to
splash.
do is we're going to get rid of an old guy and get a really, really old guy.
Well, they're getting rid of a aging quicker old guy for a aging slower old guy.
I don't know. Tom Brady last year, I hate to say this, but
Well,
he
they're both statues.
Yeah.
Just one of them doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, I get
Phillip Rivers will win you as many games, will lose you essentially as many games throwing a pick than he'll win you games.
So this scenario, Brady to San Francisco has fizzled. They're not going to do that.
They've
It's
said,
fizzling.
San Francisco has said that they're not.
they're not
LA's
even.
Vegas has said they're not. So the only ones available right now that it seems like is Chargers, Bucks, and go back to the Patriots.
I think that if there's been rumors of the Patriots going to trade for Beckham, so that would be something. I guess what his thing is give me somebody to throw me the
he
ball.
wants
Give me somebody,
weapons.
give me somebody to throw the
He
ball
wants
to.
weapons. I think Odell would do good in New England. I really do. I think anybody that takes over the quarterback position in New England will be fine though. Seriously, even with the Andy Dalton, I think he'd be fine. I think Josh McDaniels is that smart of an offensive coordinator where he could probably open it up a little bit more because he would have a younger, not quite a statue of a quarterback, Andy Dalton. He's not in his 40s. He's in his early 30s.
Yeah, he's been around a while.
Andy Dalton is the same age as Cam Newton.
Wow, I didn't realize. Yeah, that's right. They were in the same draft, I think.
Yeah.
What about this though? I was just reading some of the Panther stuff.
Yeah.
Panthers trading up for Tua. Would you trade up for Tua?
Yeah. Well,
They say he's a generational talent.
they say the same thing about Trevor Lawrence. Which one do you want more, though?
Yeah.
That's the main question. The difference is one of them can come out this year and the other one can't come out next year. You have to look at it to me, how I'm looking at it is how desperate is Tepper to put a winning product on the field? Is he okay with maybe giving them a rebuild year, or is he gonna go out on a limb and reach for Tua? What's so crazy is I still think it's a reach anywhere you take Tua because of his injury history. I don't care how accurate of a thrower he is. The best ability is availability, and if I'm not sure that you can get on the field anytime, especially this year, because they don't even know if he would be able to take a snap this year, just to make sure that his hip is 100% properly healed. So one, if he doesn't play all year and then he comes out next year and gets hurt again, that was a wasted draft pick that you traded up for. You didn't just take him because he was sitting there on you. See, us with Washington, if we don't play Dwayne, that's a first-round pick that was wasted, that we could have taken somebody else that had starter caliber talent. So that's why to me we can't we can't take another quarterback because then last year's first, because we traded up for another first-round pick.
But at what point do you have to admit you're wrong? You know what I mean? Well,
exactly, but he only started technically 3 games out of the 7 he came in and played.
I guess through that it's like, okay, I'm in the line with 15 people and there's one that's only got 5 next. Well, I'm not going to change lines because this is the line I started in.
Right.
Well, sometimes it makes sense to change and just say, well, we whiffed. Chicago's going to do that with Trubisky, right? Well,
yeah,
we
but
whiffed.
how many years did they give Trubisky?
2, wasn't it?
Trubisky's going into like his 3rd or 4th year.
Is Trubisky in year 3 or 4 next year?
He's going on year 4, year 3, or his first year he didn't come in and was the initial starter. He worked for that. The second year he was there, they had great defense and they made the playoffs
Right.
because that was a down
his
year.
third year.
This was his 3rd year and they were bad.
Of course, when
It
you
was
draft
bad.
a guy about number 1, well, you know what, number 1 overall,
2.
2 overall.
And he had never beat Duke or North Carolina State.
Hey, North Carolina
But
State's
what I'm
pretty
getting
good.
at,
I'm
though,
getting
is
at why would you draft a quarterback for North Carolina?
it's the same thing. If Carolina was to do this with Tua, and it turns out that medical experts say he's going to need the full season off.
Now, they've already said, no, he's good.
I
Didn't they
know,
not?
but it's just precautionary, because you never know. It's that hips don't just get dislocated all the time, Like,
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's pretty substantial. I
kinda
know
what
they said
happened
it
to Bo
healed
Jackson,
back.
wasn't
They
it?
said it healed back
Yeah.
fine,
He's not a big boy either.
No, he's not a big boy. So what I'm getting at though is if you're Carolina and you think, okay, it's fine, we don't have to play him at all this first year, go ahead. But if you are not in that boat, then to me that's a waste of a starter, a first round starter when you got Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields sitting right there the next year.
Yeah, you do have 2 coming out next year.
So that's what I don't understand.
What if you
we're
mess up?
we're going crazy over Tua and we act like Trevor Lawrence didn't beat Tua badly in the national championship.
What if you mess up and go 8-8, and you don't have a chance to get either one? Now you got to sell the farm to get them.
But see, that's his own fault. You know, if you're going all in, don't pull a Hornets.
Go all in.
in.
A problem? That should be a good thing.
Go all in. And if
8-8 should be a good thing.
I was about to say, and if your team goes 8-8,
you're telling me that the Panthers should tank the 2020 season.
Oh, 100%. My cousin's husband is a Panthers fan. I sat with them at the Hornets game tonight when I went for the Spurs games, and he looked at me and said, "If they tank, do it. Just let me know as a fan what the plan is, so I know what to expect next year."
So I know not to come and buy any hot dogs.
No, don't go buy no hot dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just that's the thing that Panthers fans. I think I speak for all of them. They just don't know what the ownership and what the plan is. Are you with Cam? Or are you without Cam? Is everybody up for trade, or is everybody up for trade except for Christian McCaffrey?
I would definitely say that they would be entertaining offers for Newton. Would you not say, Kevin? I mean, definitely.
Oh yeah. I mean,
you trade away your Pro Bowl guard.
To me, it's way more valuable.
Panthers
to have
are sitting at 7.
They're 7. To me, it'd be way more valuable to have a quarterback who can listen. Kyle Allen is 6 and 7 with the 31st ranked defense. Cam Newton's first 13 games went 4 and 9 with the 19th best defense. Kyle Allen is not as bad as everybody thinks, and Cam's not as good as everybody thinks. There's a happy sandwich that needs to happen. Now, do you want to pay this one $25-30 million, or do you want to pay the other one $10 million? Then do you want to use that money to draft and get defenders to help your 31st ranked defense?
Okay, what he's saying is tank the season, get Trevor Fields next year. But what I'm saying, well, you're drafting 7th this year. All right, if 2 is there at 7, do you take him? Because then if you do take him, then you've got Allen under contract. And then maybe you can get, I guess we would debate on what you could get for Newton. I don't know if you wouldn't say, Hunter, you can get a first rounder for him at this point in his career, do you?
No. Second round, maybe.
Yeah, but you're going to get a really good player. You can get a really good player in the second round.
You can do exactly what New England does every year and load up on draft picks.
Right.
I don't care if it's a 2nd, a 5th. If you can get multiple picks for him, it may be a player.
If Tua is there at 7, all I'm saying is he would be hard to pass up.
Well,
because if you do pass on,
I agree.
If you do, you're going to be judged.
But
for
the notion that you said they're considering trading up, that'd be a no-go for me. Because if you get whatever you give up and he doesn't, pan out due to injury, his injury proneness, then that's a waste. They would be in the same position that Washington was when they traded up for the Rams to go get RG3. Then he got hurt, and we were out of draft picks that the Rams used to build their
How
Super
many
Bowl
draft
team.
picks have you guys used in the top round or 2 in the last 10 years? 2 at least?
What do you mean? Like used?
Like picked a draft pick in the first 2 rounds. Quarterback.
Oh.
Did I not say quarterback?
No.
Quarterback in the first couple years. In the first couple rounds.
Well, it was only whenever we picked RG3 and Kirk Cousins, and then last year. That's it. Because we had Kirk for all those years. And then, we went out and signed Alex Smith.
All right, Tom, of the 54 Super Bowls, only 28 of them, which is slightly more than half by one, have been won by first-round quarterbacks. Okay? So, one, that doesn't guarantee you anything. Of those 28 Super Bowl wins, 16 of them have been won by number 1 overall quarterbacks. And only 7 of those. There's only 7 people who's won 16 of the Super Bowls. And that's number 1. So only 7 won overalls, folks. Only 7 first-round overall picks have won the Super Bowl. And they've actually won 16 of them. But 7 after how many 54 years of drafts? So what's the percentage on that? Then, only 12 other times has a quarterback drafted in the first round won a Super Bowl. Here are the quarterbacks drafted in the first round that have won a Super Bowl, not drafted first overall. Patrick Mahomes, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, Jim McMahon, Phil Simms, Doug Williams,
Yeah.
Lynn Dawson, Craig Morton, and Brian Greasy. Twice. Not Brian Greasy, Bob Greasy.
But you know what's skewing the numbers is because Brady's won so many in recent years.
Right.
That's kind of skewing
There's
the numbers. Yeah.
Well, he wasn't in. You talking about towards non-first round picks.
Right.
So
Towards
the
non-first
first round picks, some of them make the Super Bowl. A lot of them will make a Super Bowl,
but not win it.
but not win it. The 1-1 overall, I think the 1-1 overall record is something like they're like 16, almost 10 or something like that in actually winning the Super Bowl. So it's not guaranteed. You know what is guaranteed of all the, I said 16 and 28. How about 49 and 54 Super Bowls have been a top 12 defense?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You're right. I mean, it's
so
not a
much
cliche.
more.
It's not a cliche. It's accurate. You've got to. Defense wins championships.
Yeah.
You've got to have a good defense because, you can't go out there and say, well, we're just going to score 50 every game. It doesn't really work that way. So, yeah, I mean, you got to, like Chase Young, man, well, what a talent that would be. He'd look good in the Browns uniform. Myles Garrett on one if he comes back. I guess he's been reinstated. And Chase Young on the other, man, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It was a lot of teams. In all seriousness, Rob Ryan went on Colin Cowherd's show and was talking to him. Rob Ryan was our linebackers coach in Washington last year. Obviously, we didn't have a great year, so he's not there anymore. Ron Rivera's brought in all his guys. But he said, essentially he was talking because the talks are that Colin asked him the question. He said, do they go Chase Young for Washington or do they go Tua? And he went on a little spill, but at the end of the day, he was like, man, that might be the best. He was talking about because coming out of Ohio State. He said, look how good Joey Bosa has been and Nick Bosa has been. And they say Chase Young is better than both of them. He essentially said, you got like a once-in-a-generational pass rusher like that. He said, me, as a defensive guy, and Ron Rivera as a defensive guy, he said, I would go for the pass rusher all day.
He is going to occupy two players every snap.
Oh, I know
Every
he is.
snap.
Every snap. He is. That picture that's been circling around, after they were like, oh, he disappeared against Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game.
They doubled him.
They triple teamed him.
Yeah.
They pulled 3 offensive linemen onto him.
And that opened
Let me
up.
tell you how
that
easy it
opened
is
up for other people.
easy it is to fix a team, Tom. This should be what the Browns are doing and everyone else. All right, so you get a quarterback on a rookie deal. Your first 4 round picks, the first 3 need to be starters every year. Okay, 4 through 7, you hope can make the team and be
Hit
a
or
starter
miss,
and
yeah.
can contribute. If all you did was pick Baker one year and then pick nothing but defensive players the next 2 years,
You'd be
you'd
competitive.
have a whole brand new starting defense with a rookie quarterback. Then you can use all your money on signing the
agency.
Odells and the running backs and
And the
everything else.
Hooper.
And every time you give one of these guys, don't matter to me, it don't matter who's on your team, one of these highest paid blockbuster deals, it almost never works out in the end for the teams as far as winning and going forward. I just think you can't if you put $40 million into Dak Prescott, Panthers put 20 into Cam. That means the Panthers can spend $20 more million
somewhere
on
else.
defenders or linemen,
Yeah.
and that's the trade off that you have to have with some of these players, like the Ezekiel Elliott's or the Christian McCaffreys. At what point
I'm
is it
serious.
just too much?
I could see the Panthers trying to find the replacement for Kuechly in this draft.
Well, right. They need to.
And essentially, I think we all can agree that that's of need.
I don't know why they wouldn't pick Simmons in the first pick.
Oh,
I
and
have no.
Everybody,
I can't think of any reason the Panthers would not pick
Panthers
Simmons.
fans, unless he's gone
But
at
if they're going,
four
if they're
or
going
higher.
to a Tom, the NFC South teams should be pulling for the Panthers to pick a quarterback there in the first round because they're not getting the number 1 overall that everyone thinks. They're not getting the best one.
Mm-hmm.
So are you coming in to play Drew Brees and Matt Ryan with
Tua
or who's the other? What are these
or
other
Will
guys?
Greer, or I mean,
did see the kid from. Did you see the kid from Oregon throw the ball
Herbert.
62 yards?
Yeah.
without flat-footed, just
Yeah, he's
shot
got-
put it at 62 yards. I can throw a football about 55 and on a crow hop and everything I got, like running into
dude,
it.
I'm telling you, he's got a huge arm. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen right now have the biggest arms in the NFL. Justin Herbert comes in there, he might have the 3rd or 4th. Him
easy,
and Love.
easy getting somebody every time.
Roethlisberger?
No, Flacco.
Yeah, but I don't think Flacco's throwing anybody passes anymore.
Yeah,
so.
he could throw it.
He's just throwing it 80 yards
could
down
throw
the
it.
field as far as he can.
So, and
could
another
throw
thing
it.
as well, they're talking about all the cancellations and stuff due to the coronavirus. The NFL has said that the draft is still on for some set dates. I just don't.
No, they postponed it.
I read that it was still for the 23rd to the 25th.
I just read that it was postponed. I'm almost sure it's postponed. Kevin will magic Google. No,
Still
it's the
says April
same.
23rd.
Yeah, I thought somewhere I read.
Yeah,
it
I
was
just read that it
postponed.
was going to be, no fans.
All right, it says cancels draft plans in Vegas. Now this might be what you're
Okay,
talking
that's
about,
what I
Tom.
saw.
Let's
Yeah,
see
yeah,
if
yeah.
let's see exactly what they're going to do.
They might be moving it.
They've canceled plans to hold its draft in Vegas this year because of concerns over the coronavirus. Instead, the league will conduct the draft this year as a televised event at a to-be-determined site. The 3-day event scheduled to take place in Vegas and draw hundreds of thousands of fans. Was the first major NFL event in Vegas. League said in a statement it'll make it up to Vegas with other events, including a Super Bowl. I'm sure they'll go back next year, or the next, to do the draft.
Yeah,
that
they'll
shouldn't
go
be that
back.
hard
They'll go back.
to put the draft together. Look forward to partnering with the Raiders. Blah blah blah. Conduct its draft in Cleveland next year, Kansas City in 2023, but there's no commitment for 2022. So Vegas could be back in 2022 for that. After careful considerations, the Vegas NFL and the Players Association decided to cancel the draft day celebration. The draft will go on as scheduled so far.
You know what I think they should do the televised event from? Canton. I think they should just do it from Pro Football Hall of
Good,
Fame.
yeah.
I think it'd be just nice, and you'll have B-roll that you can roll in between picks. You can take the cameras down the aisles there at the Hall of Fame. I think why not?
The draft last year in Nashville resulted in 224 economic impact, 224 million with 130 million in direct spending. That was calculated.
Yeah,
just
see,
if
that's
you're
to
wondering
me.
about that.
I think that's what hurts a lot of these cities is just, especially what the NCAA was bringing to some of those cities as well, just coming in for tournament time.
Said Cleveland lost $8 million. They said Atlanta's going to lose like $100 million. Just crazy money.
Well,
crazy
we don't want to talk exact money, but we can talk about hours of programming that KTC has lost.
Right. I agree 100%.
We'd have a high school game of the week, 2 or 3 once the playoffs started up here. We lost 3 races a week with truck, Xfinity, and NASCAR. We lost North Carolina, Duke, and Clemson basketball, ACC basketball, NCAA basketball, Charlotte Hornets basketball. The Roy Williams show had to be canceled. So we've lost hours and hours and hours of weekly programming here on KTC as well. So and that's why when they start talking the bars and the food and restaurants, I'm like, at some point you're getting too far into affecting everyone's lives to where how are people going to be able to pay their bills, Tom? I mean, you have to work.
Well,
you can't not everybody just has. Well, I could take 2 weeks off and for this virus and then come back and my job will be everything cool. And
It's funny is, my father said, he was like, everybody's scared of the virus, but more people should be scared about getting bankrupt
right
than the virus.
That's what I'm concerned about, because when you start shutting these things down, like if you leave the bar open, you could keep a couple of bartenders and waitresses keep their jobs going. But I mean, we sit there and watch Bar Rescue during the day. I mean, most of them are in depth or so far behind they can't afford that, and that's the concerns that I don't have. Of course, sure, follow the doctor's orders, do what you're supposed to do, and stay safe and clean. Wednesday is the official start of free agency, so hopefully, maybe Hunter will have
I'm seeing sources
some
now.
Brady stuff by then.
Bears are focused on acquiring Andy Dalton or Nick Foles. Somebody decides something already. My God, you got Teddy Bridgewater's name here, Andy Dalton, Nick Foles is the only one consistent.
Hunter, you're going to have to go home tonight when you're quarantined.
Yeah, I know.
And do a little research, okay?
Imagine.
Don't come on my podcast unprepared, okay?
Okay.
Is this my podcast today?
I
since
guess
showed
for
up?
sure.
Wait. Wait a minute now.
Are you going to be like Skip with the alarm at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Dun, dun, dun.
He's getting ready.
I
for the
guarantee
show.
that is
Sitting there
not
like,
JP on Saturday mornings.
No, it's
I
not.
promise you.
Sitting there like Shannon Sharp. Skip. Come on, Skip. Come on, Skip.
Philip Rivers are looking at is talking to Indianapolis.
Yeah, I heard I was
That's
listening
like
to it.
that's like the Alabama of the North, so he'll be right at home.
I was
there.
listening to a podcast, and Jay Glazer was on there and said, "There's a good possibility. I mean, it's a good possibility. There's nothing set in stone, but it's a good
I
possibility."
think he ends up in Tampa if Brady doesn't. I think that's where he'd rather be.
And you're going to start him over Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston's probably out the door.
They haven't let him go yet. Though.
Not
He's a
yet,
free
not
agent.
yet, but he is a free agent.
I mean, he's
there's
out
no
the door.
contract. Yeah, technically he's out the door.
I thought he had one more year.
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay.
No.
I thought he
He's
had
out the
one
door.
more year.
But
And he wants $30 million.
Here's
a year
the thing.
too.
So I said the
No way.
Chargers would definitely be heavy at play
way.
for Tom Brady. Bruce Arians is going to pull out all the stops in Tampa Bay
I don't think he
to
wants
get him a
Jameis.
quarterback.
I don't think he wants.
He
Jameis
doesn't
at all.
want Jameis at all. He said
That comment. That comment he made just
that he
made me
said,
laugh.
basically in an interview, said we can win with if we can win with this quarterback, we can win with any
That's what
quarterback.
he
That's
said.
exactly what he said.
I wouldn't. I don't know. It's definitely a patch. It's not a long-term solution. So what are you going to do if
It's win now mode.
If you're Tampa Bay and you sign Rivers and you're going to have to pay him big money,
2 years, $30 million.
See, but I guess you go ahead and get you another quarter. You're going to have to draft
Well,
somebody
2
else.
years. Well, Tom Brady wants $30 million a year. So if you do the same thing for Phillip Rivers, just 2 years, $60 million.
It's a lot of money.
Hey Tom, you keep planning for the future, it'll blow right by you.
You're right, Kevin. I
And-
mean,
and
you're right.
you know
I'm
what
not
I
gonna
mean?
tell-
Because
I
right
know.
now, Tampa Bay's got the coach, the defensive coach, a good defense, all the weapons in the world, and Mike Evans, Godwin, and I mean they have everything except the quarterback to give them over the hump. Unless you thought
I'm
LASIK
not-
Jameis Winston was going to be better,
I'm
and
not
they don't.
sure. I don't know. Just watching Rivers there at the end of the season, I don't know how much.
Now,
he's got left in
look,
that tank.
I'm dead serious. I think it would do Phillip Rivers better than Tom Brady. I could say the same thing for both of them, but Phillip Rivers definitely. I would walk away.
He'll throw 40 touchdowns in Tampa.
He'll throw
He
35
won't.
picks.
No, he won't. No,
No, okay, maybe not 35, but
He threw
Phillip,
23 last year.
Phillip Rivers was
Right.
second most in interceptions behind Jameis.
Yeah.
So it's basically on the mark. Bridgewater, Winston,
Big names, yes.
Foles is not.
No,
Foles
they
is-
have to be
okay.
traded.
Yeah, he'd have to
Andy
be traded.
Dalton would have to be
Dalton,
traded as well.
Cam would
Brady.
have to be traded.
Cam would have to be traded.
Cam would have to be traded.
Matthew Stafford would have to be traded.
Yeah. Of course, they've been talking about him, and I always thought that he could really be good. In the
Kirk
right place.
Cousins is off the playing field now. They gave him a 2-year extension. So,
I think I'm the only person in America who likes Kirk Cousins. I think he does a
look,
good
I don't
job.
mind Kirk Cousins.
All right.
I was mad when we traded him for an older version of him.
I just don't
and
like his
Alex Smith.
first name, and it's hard to
Kirk?
say. It's hard to say that.
Captain
Cousins.
Kirk.
It's an alliteration name.
If the last name wasn't a C, it would be
Kirk
way
Cousins?
easier because everyone wants to call him Kurt.
I know that's exactly.
Kirk
That's what
Cousins.
Dan Snyder used to call him, and he was like, "My name's Kirk."
All right, here since
In a press conference, he was like, "Kurt."
since 1990, the quarterbacks drafted in the NFC North since 1990. The Lions,
God, it's gonna be all freaking.
the Lions have drafted Andre Ware, Joey Harrington, and Matthew Stafford. The Vikings have drafted Culpepper, Christian Ponder, and Teddy Bridgewater. The Bears have drafted Cade McCown, Rex Grossman, and Mitch Trubisky. And the Packers, since 1990, have drafted Aaron Rodgers.
Since 1990.
Well, they had
First
Brett
round
Favre.
draft pick.
Yeah,
Oh,
quarterbacks.
first round.
they had
First
Brett
round,
Favre too.
So the Bears, Vikings, and Lions have drafted 9 quarterbacks since 1990 and haven't made or won a Super Bowl. Bears made one and made one Super Bowl. And then the Packers have drafted Favre and Rodgers, are only 2 first-round quarterbacks in the last 30 years.
and they both won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. So you drafting a first-round quarterback doesn't necessarily do anything. Where did Andre Ware go to school? Was he at Ohio
Houston.
State? Houston. I know it was a red. I know it was
Houston,
a red.
man, it was Air Ware. Remember that was
Mhm.
when the spread was born, back when Andre Ware was throwing it all over the field down there.
I
And-
saw
and
someone
he-
say that Russell Wilson revolutionized the game.
Huh?
And I'm like,
How?
did Doug Williams play? Did Andre Ware play? Rodney Peete? Did Vic or Randall Cunningham? Everybody forgets about him. He's still the all-time leader in rushing
Dude,
yards
look,
for
I
quarterbacks.
have so much
And he had
respect
a
for Russell
92-yard
Wilson,
punt.
but
He can punt too.
so much respect for Russell Wilson, but what
Right.
were they born in
I don't-
2000?
I don't know.
I tell you what, though, that team is really, it's Russell Wilson. I mean, it's
Oh, I agree.
All right.
he is-
I agree.
carries that team.
All right, I want to finish up the show with this. NASCAR, iRacing. Did you see us, Tom?
Did not. I did watch Days of Thunder last
Do you know
night.
what iRacing is?
You're not talking about IndyCar racing.
No.
Mm-mm. No.
I'm talking about internet racing.
Kevin.
What?
Why would I know about that? Internet. You're
Are
talking
you
about on a
not
computer.
hip?
On
Are
a
you
computer.
not with the times?
So you're not really driving. You're on a computer.
So this is what
No, it's
the
a
teams
it's a
do.
simulator. It's
You-
like
so you
flight
have
It's a
Sim-
computer. It's a
Yes.
simulator. It's a computer.
Yes,
That's what it is.
But
It's a
they
computer.
train pilots with flight simulators. It's just the NASCAR
It's not the
simulator.
same.
So I'm gonna kind of show you what they're. Dale Jr. iRacing.
He wrecked.
Charlotte. But he finished in top 10.
He's still wrecked.
Yeah. So
So this is what Dale Jr. does now that he's semi-retired.
well, actually, all the teams do this.
This is how they practice without messing
They
up
actually
vehicles.
are practicing now with these setups. So I'm gonna show the folks online. This is Dale Jr. playing the iRacing. This is at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So they say they got his seat set out there and connected to the big screen. Here's your little setup. There's Austin Dillon. So what these teams are doing, Tom, is this is their simulation. So the driver's actually practicing these leading up to the races to know. Biggest thing is braking. You know, when you're braking into turns, how fast you can take it. And these things are really, really good. So what they did, the iRacing series decided to put together a little race on Sunday with some of the drivers and other famous folks in NASCAR. Here I'm going to give you the list of the folks. And Anthony Alfredo, Xfinity, Justin Allgaier, Xfinity, Tyler Ankrum, a Truck Series driver, Alex Bowman, of course, won the race last week in the NASCAR Cup, Chase Briscoe, Xfinity, Harrison Burton, Xfinity, William Byron,
Harrison Burton is a great Xfinity driver.
Jonathan Davis, Tim Duggar, Dale Earnhardt Jr. raced, Taylor Gray, let's see, Justin Haley, Kevin Hamlin, he's the spotter for 88, Ben Rhodes, Gary Sexton, Tyler Truex, the modified driver Bubba Wallace ran the race yesterday. A couple of other spotters. Let's see, Chad Knaus, crew chief for KTC for Hendricks Motorsports, and now the 24 car he ran in the race. Kyle Long,
Long.
not who you're thinking about.
Oh.
He's a motorsports owner.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I was gonna see if you said that.
We're talking about Howie Long's son,
Right,
Kyle.
no, Kyle didn't. Chase Briscoe, of course. So what I wanted to say about that, now that I named everybody, here's the standings.
What did they race on? What was the platform that they used where you could watch
You know,
it?
you had to watch on Twitter.
So it was on Twitter.
It was on Twitch, not Twitter.
Twitch. I figured.
Podium Esports,
Yep.
which I invented and should have money, but I don't. Top 10 results from it's called the Replacement 100, Tom.
The replacement 100. That's
Josh
funny.
Williams won it. I was trying to see if I named him. Josh is a spotter for the number 12 car. So the number 12 car spotter won it. William Byron, Hendricks Motorsports, came in second. Dale Jr., 8th. Bubba Wallace, 9th. So
Oh, Bubba.
you didn't think we was going to be reporting on esports
I did
today,
not.
did you?
I did not. I was
Is
unprepared.
North Carolina ready to get into the esport? Have you seen how this is spreading across the nation? Esports. There's a lot of
My school's got an esports team.
It's not a sport.
There's-
It's on a computer.
there's a lot of
I've got a guy in my class writing an argumentative paper on why it is. So I'll have him
It's
email
not a
it to
sport
you.
if it's on a
so
computer.
Tom, that NBA each team has their own.
Professional NBA team.
They have drafts and they draft
Players.
kids and players, and they have them come up and put on Hornets hats and everything.
Yeah.
I couldn't make that up if I
Dude,
wanted
hey.
to. But there's an academy in Massachusetts just called the Esports Academy. And now that is an actual college, Tom. You could send Anna to Massachusetts to learn how to compete in esports.
Anna's going to go and be an engineer at NC State, I hope.
Hey, look, man. I'm at an IT school, but we still like games.
Yeah, I understand. We think the computer sport, that's cute.
Look,
I guess
but I will say this.
I played Frogger when I was
Now,
a
look,
kid.
I will say this.
Does that make me a
this,
fisherman?
this would be, to me, more what I would consider like more esport because I'm in the same boat.
Look at that
I'm
setup, Tom.
borderline on
Huh?
it.
Look at that setup.
Like
this
I'm
girl's got.
borderline on it, you know. But it's like at the
crazy.
same time, it's like a simulation. Same thing with like airplane simulators.
It's not a sport; it's a game. It's there's no athleticism to it. It is a game.
Read a book.
Now,
But
as
now,
far as
hold
driving,
on.
don't
I
say
could
driving
say
a car is
this.
the same thing. No, it's
know.
not.
Yes, I could. There's no
Hunter.
athleticism needed to drive
Hunter.
a car.
Hunter.
Yeah, there is.
There's a ton of athleticism.
No,
needed
I
to
wouldn't
drive a
know.
car.
No.
You ready? You
There's
ready?
endurance. There's
All right.
endurance.
There's
Definitely
endurance.
Okay.
There's hand
Then
eye.
why was Tony Stewart fat as hell and still winning races?
There's hand-eye coordination.
Some fat guys are in shape. They're in shape fat guys.
I'm just
There's
saying.
hand-eye
I
coordination.
mean, I say the same thing about baseball. Why? I mean, Frank Thomas was huge.
Hunter, what's the fastest you've ever been driving a car?
120.
Now,
I'm not happy to admit that. but
Now.
it was 120.
now that you say that, these guys are going faster than that, almost double.
Yes, I understand.
Wait,
240.
with
I had a limiter.
with someone about 6 feet from them on the left.
Okay, I
Sometimes
get
6 feet from them on the right.
that. I get that.
And if they crash, unlike on the video game, they could die.
I understand that. Same thing happens.
Any
to all,
type of-
same thing happens to all of us during rush hour in the mornings going to Charlotte. I mean, we're not going that fast.
Going to Charlotte is not the same as the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Look, no. Now I trust me. I can't do that, but I promise you this. I mean, I would not have to be like the fittest, like
Oh,
NFL, NBA, and some baseball players are to do that.
You're right. on
That's what I'm
that.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Is like the same thing. Like, so I can't sit
But-
here. You
but
can't
Hunter,
sit here and tell me
is Nate
that some of them.
Hunter-
You can't tell me that getting out of that
Hold on,
car,
Tom.
they could outplay me in football, basketball, and soccer.
No, well, those are different
athleticism-wise.
skills.
That's athleticism-wise.
But I bet some of them. I bet Jimmy Johnson could beat you at a marathon.
I bet he could. 'Cause I bet he
he
could.
could beat you in a bike race.
I bet he could.
Okay. So could Nate Newton see a better athlete than Randy Moss or Deion Sanders?
No.
Okay. Tony Stewart is Nate Newton, and
Tony
Jimmy
Stewart-
Jimmy Johnson
Look,
is Deion Sanders.
I'm just saying, Tony's like you just said. Tony Stewart, is he a better athlete than me? There's no way. No way.
I think he could take you, man.
How could he?
You just name the game, he'll beat you at it.
Okay. Now look, I will say this.
He'll fight to the
now
death,
I will say
too.
this. Now Denny Hamlin and some of them do play in a basketball league. I understand that, but for me to say the athleticism you're showing on the basketball court, I will give you credit for that, but not athleticism for sitting and being in shape, like being able to endure a long race like that. There's a big difference between me being able to go out here and use my feet as effective as you use your
If
hands.
you started every race for NASCAR, you wouldn't finish a single one.
I promise you I wouldn't. I'm not I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm in shape, but I'm just saying
After about
athleticism
20 laps, I'll
wise.
be like, where's the 7-Eleven, man? I want me a big gulp.
y'all be in there checking for the radio.
I'm
Where's-
just
I need
saying
some
just
raw.
because you have an endurance and you're quote unquote in shape doesn't mean you're athletic. I'm just that's just me. Because trust me, one of my closest friends is Jesse Little, and he races the Xfinity Series. Okay, when you put a basketball in his hands, he looks like a fish out of water. He doesn't know what to do.
Hey, I've played with plenty.
Sorry,
of,
Jesse,
I've
if
played-
you hear this, I
I've
love
pl-
you to death, buddy. But
I've played basketball with plenty of football players who had no
right
prayer, chance, reason
to be
to
dribbling a
ever be
basketball.
on a basketball court.
But were they still jumping probably 35, 40-inch verticals and running 4.5s?
right? And they would be drafted before me on the basketball court, even though I can dribble and shoot.
That's what I'm saying.
That was James Harden. That's what his kind of point was to
Giannis.
Giannis was.
Yeah.
I wish I could just be 7 foot and dunk. I have to
know.
have skills like dribbling and
Right.
shooting and stuff like that. Oh, it aggravates people that are the guards that and I say this all the time.
Mhm.
There are millions of guards on our planet and in our country who are better than most of the big men in
I
the
agree.
NBA.
I can agree
At
with that.
basketball.
I
If
can
they,
agree with
even if
that.
they played 1-on-1, they would still beat them because that guy can't do nothing but be tall.
I know. That's the. I mean, you
I
just
don't
got to
know.
pray to God you hit all your shots and he doesn't
I was
rebound
getting ready
it.
to say, yeah.
I'll take let's see who didn't make it in the NBA from Carolina. I'll take Rashad McCants or Joe Forte
Prime. Put them in
over
their prime.
over Timothy Mozgov
Okay, yeah.
every
he's big.
day of the week.
He's just big. I think we can all agree. We can
And-
all agree
and
that
the-
he's just big.
and the Charlotte Hornets traded Dwight Howard for Timothy Mozgov.
I was gonna say, now I wouldn't trade Dwight. I wouldn't take a lot of people over Dwight Howard.
Now, Tom, the Hall of Fame did close this weekend for a couple of days. They may reopen back shortly, just in case you won't know. What I was trying to show you,
Canton did as well.
Uh,
Football and baseball did as well. I think a lot
I'll
of
show you the
those places are.
simulators at the Hall of Fame. It's kind of what. So at the Hall of Fame, they built the simulators inside the car. So there's a handicap one, and so you actually sit in the cars and do the simulators. And I think that's kind of what some of these teams do with their simulators. I saw one the other day, Tom. It has they even set them on rollers, and they shake and bounce by the track, and they test. That's how they're testing the suspension. I mean, that's how in depth and how far they actually go on these tracks, because each track's different. I wonder if I can see. Let's see, a NASCAR shaker machine. These things are nuts.
I did watch Days of Thunder last night. I hadn't seen it in years.
Did you?
It was really. I was like, I forgot. It's just like that late '80s, early '90s cheesiness, but still good.
Yeah.
You know,
Showing the people online. I'm gonna turn the music off. You guys just hear us talk. But I kind of wanted to show Tom here. These shakers, they put these guys on.
Oh,
So this is how they test if their tires are gonna rub and
yeah.
and all that other stuff, and kind of compare it back to the
See,
old
but
days.
back in the old days, a stock car was
Look at
actually
him. He's just shaking it with his hands.
a stock car was actually it looks like a car,
Right,
You know?
Yeah. See, that's what I meant the other day, Saturday morning. I was like, I'd like to see them get back out there like some Chevy Cobalts and just drive around all of them in the same vehicles. This stock car. See which one is truly the best driver.
Those things are neat. How much info and work they put into every little
It's a lot of engineering.
second or
There's a lot
tenth of a
of
second
engineering.
that-
A lot of
that-
engineering.
that they worry about. All right. So Wednesday we're going to try to get into, hopefully, Hunter. We'll talk more about maybe Tom Brady. We might know where he's at on
Maybe.
Wednesday.
Maybe.
Tom, you want to talk Dak Prescott? It looks like he's going to stay with the Cowboys. For weeks, you've been on the edge of your seat over where Dak Prescott was going.
I've been shut out by you on the Saturday show. You actually brought that up, and it's like I was explaining to my kids the Speaker of the House and the agenda. I was like, well, you have a Democratic Speaker of the House, you're going to talk about minimum wage, you're going to talk about gun laws, you're going to talk blah, 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 blah. But when you have a Republican Speaker, I said, it's kind of like the Saturday show. I was like, when I go on the Saturday show, I have an agenda, Kevin has an agenda, but mine doesn't really matter because Kevin sets the agenda. You know what they said? Instead of, oh, Mr. Senafani, oh, that's too bad. He ought to let, no, that's not what they said. They said, does he have a radio voice?
Does he have a race?
Yeah.
What?
I was like, yeah, I guess he does.
Right.
I was looking for sympathy and I got none.
You got
so
none.
you should feel good.
Hunter, we
No.
need a plan to come up there and do a podcast from their room
Career
one day.
day. You want to do like a career day podcast?
I
The
can,
career day
I'll make
of
all the
Burns.
kids in school mad when I tell them that LeBron and Mike Trout are overrated. Will that just
Look, man.
will that
don't-
start a riot in
hey,
high school?
Look, don't worry. I'm working on an argumentative paper right now, so I'll be able to get behind you.
Will that start the riot in the high school, Tom?
Yeah.
If I come in and said that
I think it'll be okay.
over the intercom too. If you think Mike Trout is good, and you think, and then I'll throw in the Panthers too, just to make them mad too.
Yeah, a lot of
Some Cam Newton, Cam, LeBron, and Mike Trout are overrated. That'll make someone in North Carolina mad.
Cam definitely has been, but I don't know. Why would Mike, wait a minute. Why would LeBron make people mad in North Carolina? Why would you think that?
Some people just think he's the guy,
Yeah,
no matter what.
I guess.
There are people today that think everything today, and I was wondering, Tom, if everything today is better than everything that it used to be, does that then mean Jordan would have to come off the bench in today's NBA? That's what I like to ask the kid when I hear them say that stuff like that, where they're bigger, faster, stronger.
I'm
Hunter
literally
looked it up and proved that
I'm literally
they're
working
not.
on an argumentative paper right now why 90s basketball and 2010s basketball. The notion that the 2010s is better today is a lie.
Well,
It's
they
a
don't.
lie. And the notion that they're bigger, faster, and stronger, technically in the 90s, they were like
They're an inch taller,
They were an inch taller,
about 7 pounds
lighter.
lighter.
The only difference is, and I literally
The
put
last
that
2
in
years, Tom, for the first time since 1979, the
Yeah,
average
shorter.
NBA height has dropped.
there. Yeah, and I literally put in there. I was like, so they learned how to eat some more food and lift weights.
They did 10. They did 10
They
extra
gained
squats.
like 8 pounds. That was it. Doesn't matter. Both weights were ideal for guys that were 6'7". So
All right, guys. Any other things before we get out of here today?
that's it,
Tom,
man.
is there anything you
That's it.
want to
Hey,
touch
be
on?
safe. Hey, y'all be safe still.
Yeah, be safe.
Be smart.
Use your hand sanitizer. Wash your hands. 3 feet. Social distancing.
Just be smart.
Stay home. Hunker down. Hopefully this thing blows over faster than the experts think.
Hey, like I said, just be smart.
All right.
Hold on.
Hold on.
I was responding to a text. Oh,
Oh.
yeah. I can
Oh.
wrap it up now.
I was just say.
I'm going to let Hunter, I'm going to have to go in here and hit this button.
All right. You want me to- you
I
want me to
guess-
play
I guess
us
Randy,
away?
I guess Randy's still in there. Isn't he?
Yeah, he's still
Well,
in there.
Tom, I played us away the other day to some American Pie. when we were losing our show.
We really didn't hear it. I listened to it and I didn't hear it.
They blocked it.
I guess they blocked it.
100% blocked it.
They 100% blocked it. I didn't hear it.
And Facebook and YouTube folks are jerks on sometimes on this music.
Jerks.
We just play a little music for the folks, enjoy,
Yeah.
and they don't want to have it. All right, well, let me get this going. Let me find my music, and we'll get us out of here. Thompson, I want to thank you coming in. He may be back Wednesday, maybe back
Big
who
thank
knows,
you.
whenever he's got time.
Big thank
Come
you,
on
Tom.
in, Tom, and check us out on KTC. And you're more than welcome to come in. Bring some folks from Burns one day if anybody else wants to come.
I'll see if I can talk him into it.
Get Coach Coggle down here since he's moved to Chase.
I saw him when I was up.
Get in touch with Kiwan. See if he wants to come in here and talk. He ain't in class.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us on today's Shock and Jock podcast. I'm Kevin Hastings, Hunter Yancey, and Tom Sinafani, KTCBroadcasting.com.